So we finally got the ruling on whether or not Donald Trump has immunity. And it came back kind of the way I expected. Um, they said no, he does not have full and absolute immunity. He has a limited immunity. Now, what do they mean? Well, if what any president does is core to the position of president, he is immune. If it is not a core presidential duty, then he does not have immunity, or she. Um, so, what does that mean exactly? Well, calling up a foreign head of state is core to the presidency. That is foreign relations. But if in that phone call they're talking about building a private hotel in their country and getting the building permits approved and getting help getting those building permits approved, uh, you know, and getting the red tape cleared up for that other country so they could get their own hotel built, that would not be considered core to the presidency. That is a private act. In regards to his January 6th case, Jack Smith is going to have to go before Judge Tanya Chutkin, and she's going to have to look at every action, basically, every action, every minute of the day, whatever they are saying is part of their evidence, and she's going to have to rule on whether or not they are considered core to the office of the presidency or not. Now, in regards to like talking to Mike Pence about whether or not Mike Pence could just toss out certain slates of electors in the January 6th counting of votes for the Electoral College. That could get a little murky. I could see them saying that the first conversation could be considered a core duty because Donald Trump was asking, how does this process work? I could see that one being allowable as being immune only because, you know, if you're not in politics, that is kind of a confusing concept. If you know, he probably didn't know how it works, probably still doesn't know how it works. But asking once what could be considered a core duty, going back after being told no, it doesn't work that way, then would not be considered core to the presidency, but a private act trying to overturn the election. Same with maybe asking Bill Barr. He might get one phone call with a couple different people trying to figure out how that worked, as a core immune act, and the rest would not be. Holding a rally on January 6th, asking his supporters to fight like hell, would not be considered an immune act. Um, Now, I don't think he is charged for withholding the National Guard, but not sending in the National Guard to quell a protest, that is being the commander in chief, his deciding when to send in troops, that could be considered an official act. He would have immunity for it. It's going to get complicated. Judge Tanya Chutkin is going to have to hold a hearing, like I've said a couple different times. And they're going to probably have to lay out most, if not all, of the evidence against Donald Trump pre election in this hearing before the judge with no jury, um, in order to decide how much of the evidence gets excluded because of this immunity claim. This is going to be a very complicated thing. This does give Donald Trump a delay, which probably means this case will not be heard before a jury before the election. But there's a good chance the public will see all of the evidence that Jack Smith has prior to the election.